Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars and sometimes Auto House of Naples, but not today, as I've got something that, frankly, for me is a little bit outside the box. Generally speaking, I've been reviewing cars, at least as of late, that came out during, at best the Clinton administration, more often, Reagan Bush, and even most of the time, maybe even the Carter administration. So it's been a long time since I've had anything that's relatively new. And today I do, and we'll get into that in a minute. Very quickly, I am loaded up on the coronavirus whiskey. I've been reading about this Omicron thing. It's going nuts. As I mentioned yesterday, my sister is stranded in Ireland because she's frankly retarded to have traveled over there in the middle of all of this, but she did. And of course, her youngest child contracted this disease, and now they're all stranded. But as a result, I thought, what the hell, I'm going to need some extra protection. So I really have piled up on it. And frankly, it's probably got me down 20, 30 IQ points, and I really don't have that many to spare. So we're going to see how this goes. I've got a friend, believe it or not, that is probably a controversial statement, but it's true. His name is Dave, and he's a car wholesaler, and I've known him for many, many years. And I was talking to him the other day, and he said, well, why don't I give you some cars for the videos? And I said, well, wait, I never thought about that. But, Dave, I have bought some stuff off him before. Most notably, I did a mid-'80s Cadillac convertible, an Eldorado, a few months back. But for the most part, Dave deals in newer, fancier shit than I ever, deal in. So it's not something that I've bought. It's just not a guy I've bought a lot of cars from. But here it is. So this is a 2019 Audi RS5, and the chances of me dealing in something like this are slim. So I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do a car that is modern and see where they're at. And here's the crux of this video. By the way, these trees are dripping on me. It is this miserable, muggy. The temperature isn't that bad. It really isn't. I'm not like dripping with sweat or anything, but the humidity in the air is shocking. Absolutely shocking. It's like a thick, soupy fog, and it's just horrible. And I know that it bodes really poorly for the rest of the day. I have a feeling it's going to get very hot and humid in a hurry, and I'm going to be miserable, but the hell with it. Here's where we're at with this review. So this is a modern car. What I'm going to do is decide whether or not this car has a soul. And I'm going to give you my quick early answer. The quick early answer is no. So I don't know how long this... Yesterday I did a video on that 124, like the 100th 124 I've done. And I thought it was going to be short, and it ended up being 55 minutes. So I don't know where this one is going to go. But I predict that it's not going to be a very long video because A, I really didn't do any research on the car because it just doesn't fascinate me that much. And B, I wanted to take a new approach that was just like going over the car together with you guys, to see what it's all about with only a minimal amount of, preparation to let me know what it's all about. So here we go, and we're going to jump right into it. I'm not even going to get into the birds or the animals. There was a rabbit this morning, that was it. Otherwise, it's been very quiet on the animal front, and the weather, as I pointed out, is absolute shit. So there it is. So now we're just going to absolutely leap into this car. So again, a 2019 Audi RS5. Now the R from Audi is a signal. It's basically like AMG or M from Mercedes or BMW. And in fact, that's the competition for this car, is the M4, a car I haven't driven. I had a chance to, but I didn't because it looked tedious to me, and C63, which I have driven and I actually enjoyed. And this car is, one of its primary competitors. And of course, Audi has come a long way since the whole unintended acceleration thing of the 80s, when they were basically an afterthought to the S-Class. Audi is, it's come into its own. I'm sure in big part due to Volkswagen making so much money and pumping so much into it. So I think that's That's played a big role. But look, by the numbers, this car is astounding. I mean, it's undeniable. I'm not going to say otherwise. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's got a 2.9 liter, we'll get into that in a minute, V6 with 2 turbochargers that puts out 444 horsepower and 443 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, that's epic numbers. It does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, which is obviously very, very fast. Turns the quarter mile at 11.8 at 116, which again, you know, look, when you're talking about the cars that I like from the 80s, I mean, if you brought this car back then, it would have been like a UFO or something. I mean, you'd have to get into the NHRA to get numbers like this back in the early 80s. I mean, it's insanely fast. And I understand that it's fairly commonplace today, but to actually look at those numbers on a piece of paper is just shocking. It is an 8-speed, there we go, automatic transmission, actually conventional automatic, because apparently the double clutch, shiftable, you know, torque converterless transmission from the past wouldn't handle the torque of this thing. It has a torque vectoring quattro system with a bias towards the rear. It has 5-link front and rear suspension, some kind of dynamic drive system that fluid dampens the corners to prevent body roll, and that's it. So I mean, that's kind of the basic crap that I know about this car before we get into it, and we'll see how all of that goes. But look, okay, so here it is. Does it have a soul? Because obviously the numbers are there. They're incredible. They're mind-boggling. There's no doubt about that. Appearance-wise, you have to, you know, it's not my cup of tea, but the thing does look pretty friggin' aggressive. I mean, it's got all kinds of grille up front. You know, it's got the 4-link Audi Auto Union emblem there in the center. It's got the RS5 badging, the Quattro. You know, I noticed that manufacturers are starting to go back to the 70s a little bit in terms of graphics and emblems. So you've got this giant Quattro badge at the bottom of the grille, side air intakes, angry, aggressive-looking headlights, a clamshell hood that swoops down at the front and rolls back, widened fenders with flares, big 20-inch 5-spoke wheels, manhole covers for brakes behind them, which I don't even think are the big optional brakes, RS5 emblems in the badge, you got carbon fiber everywhere, you got it on the bottom of the doors, you got it in the mirrors, you got it on the air dam. It's a swooping, nice-looking angular back end with a little carbon fiber spoiler. You got big, wide twice pipes at the back with a diffuser at the bottom. Also appears to have protruding LED taillights of some variety. And, you know, it's sitting there, I mean, the thing looks aggressive, it looks mean, it looks bad to the bone, and vicious, but is it? And we'll get into that as we go. So, all right, I tell you what, I'm going to do an early pause for a minute because I want to I mean, the whiskey really has me reeling this morning, and I want to just organize my thoughts and figure out how we're going to go through this. So I'm not used to doing short reviews. This is usually where I'd get into things like, you know, the weather or climate change or animals or, you know, any variety of the history of Audi and, you know, all that. That's an interesting history, by the way, Audi. It's fascinating. It's a convoluted and very strange history, but we're not going to get into it on this. And as far as doing a year in review on 2019, well, you know, that's probably better left unspoken for the moment. So anyway, give me a minute to regroup, and I'm going to attack it, you know, basically as though we've already done 20 minutes of the video. So bear with me. All right, we're back. So I've wiped the drips off my glasses. Hopefully I don't get any more as we keep going. And we're going to keep going on this car. Now, this is a little, again, difficult for me because I really haven't done the prep work on this one. I've been lazy. I'm like the kid who went to school, you know, without doing his homework and needs to borrow a pen. But I don't care because I just didn't feel it when I drove this home last night to, you know, spend the evening doing You know, it is what it is. This is an A5, basically, at its core, which is a mid-sized Audi coupe. This is the second generation. It came out in, I want to say, 2017 as a 2018 model. It's fairly anemic in its standard form. It's a front-wheel drive car with usually a turbo four-cylinder, and this is essentially the AMG version, if you will, Audi's R version of that car. And, you know, as such, they gave it all the stuff we just talked about, the fancy accoutrements that make it look like some kind of race car, especially carbon fiber mirrors, you know. I mean, it's got it all. So basically, look, let's just discover this car together, and we're going to answer the question on whether or not this thing actually has a soul. You know, when I originally thought about doing this video, I decided, would I compare it to a 1975 Cordoba and decide whether or not I would rather drive the Cordoba than this. And, you know, I can't say with 100% certainty, but to be honest with you, I'm sort of erring on the side of the Cordoba. But anyway, look, let's start inside the trunk. We'll see what we got. I haven't even opened this thing yet. For all I know, there's body parts in here. Well, there's not. Okay, so it is a nice big trunk. There's no question about that. It's enormous. I also see that it has little fold-down things, which are great. So you've got all kinds of room back here. I believe there's also a Sportback model, which came out the next year, which is some sort of four-door hatch. Sportback sounds like a slur of some kind to me, more than a model name, but yeah, that's what they call it. But anyway, you got all kinds of room back here. If these are infant containment nets, they're shit. You're never getting an infant in there. I mean, not without really maybe harming the infant. So you're probably not going to do that. I do see that it has little tie down, so I suppose you could strap an infant or a toddler in the middle using some sort of bungee cords, and you know, that would probably work. It also has these little shopping bag hangers, or you know, also you could hang dead squirrels from that if you find some roadkill on the way home, and that's a nice convenient way to not have shit rolling around your trunk. Underneath here, we got a spare tire of some variety. That's like probably the most enormous donut spare that I've ever seen. That's got to be like 18, 19 inches, and yeah, that's new to me. But anyway, you've got a nice big, you know, trunk area, which is, you know, I guess, of course, that's what the A5 would have to have, not necessarily this car, but it does. I don't know what the second thing is for. Fold down seats. You've got the seats that, why double? I'm going to pull it. Let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing happens. All right, well, yeah, I guess we'll have to look in the owner's manual for that one. Have a look under the hood. And honestly, this under the hood part is really where my problem with this car comes in, because I understand that the prior RS5 had a 4.2 liter V8 that was beloved, and frankly, a friend of mine has a really old S5 that he loves. I think he's some kind of, God, how do you get into this friggin' stupid, oh God, come on. All right, there it is. He has an older S5 that he loves, and I think he's some kind of masochist, but apparently that 4.28 was this burbly, raucous, lovely engine that, you know, just sounded terrific and performed right, and people really liked it. And of course, because of that, they had to get rid of it. And like all new cars, you know, like this is the shit that really bothers me. I mean, what used to be a V6 Mercedes is now a 4 turbo. What used to be an 8-cylinder Mercedes is now a 6 turbo. And, you know, it's great and it's wonderful and it gets better gas mileage and better torque. And listen to that bird, he's pissed off. And I still don't care. It still makes me sick to my stomach. And this is a version of that. So instead of the big V8, the 4.2, which frankly isn't even that big, you now have this 2.9 liter twin turbocharged V6 that's brimming with technology that's undoubtedly going to break at some point and become very expensive to repair. It uses some kind of twin turbo system that's in the center of the engine, which also sounds expensive. But as a result, it puts out 444 horsepower, which is a shitload. I mean, unquestionably. And I think it's about the same as what the V8 put out. It actually improves vastly on the torque number by more than 100. This thing now has 443 foot-pounds of torque, which is a shocking amount of torque. I mean, it's enough to pull down a tree stump. And still, it's a V6. I remember when Formula One went to the V6s. Oh, God. Anyway, it does have this very fancy 5-link suspension front and rear, which, you know, the thing handles like 0.95 on the skid pad, which is epic. Yeah, and of course the torque vectoring Audi Quattro system. Basically what that means is it can move the bias of power to the front or rear as needed. So it can go up to like 80% rear power versus 20 front, or 75 front power versus 25 rear, you know, as traction calls for it. You know, the C63, I think, has it over that in the terms of just being a true sort of classic big V8 rear engine muscle car made for smoking the rear tires off it. You know, this thing is not. This is much more hyper technical in the way Audi likes to build their cars, and some people like it. I don't know that I do, but there it is. And this goes through a conventional 8-speed automatic, and apparently they had to do that. The prior gen had this dual clutch setup, but it wouldn't handle the torque of this engine, which is shared with the Panamera 4S, by the way, because, you know, Volkswagen Group, they share platforms and engines and all that sort of thing. And anyway, so it went to an 8-speed, but Audi says it's very, very sporty and shifts fast. I mean, look at all this stuff up front. You've got carbon fiber swoopy front air dams. You've got like 5 different air intakes. I believe these are fake, actually. I don't see any air. Well, there's some there. But I mean, why? But anyway, these are obviously windshield washers or headlight washers of some sort that poke out. You've got the RS5 emblem. You know, there it is. And a couple of, frankly, I think those are good-looking heat shields. That's what, you know, that's where we've declined to, is I'm attracted to the heat shields. Anyway, let's put that down. Let's see what we got inside. These big carbon fiber mirrors. All right, there, you can barely see it now, but you see this Audi Sport thing? So that's, you know, I mean, to me that is really gimmicky, man. It's like carnival kind of stuff. At night, that projects a big Audi Sport onto the ground, so your lady friend that you pick up at the strip club is going to be very impressed that you have an Audi Sport. The door panel is pretty standard looking. This actually looks like pretty cheap material up top. Kind of a soft, you know, I mean, this could be on a Buick Regal up here. Here you've got some sort of Alcantara insert, which I think is a... you know, I don't know. I see that on the Porsche R things, the Caymans and such. I guess that's sort of a racy thing. It should have some sort of a red ribbon door pull, but I guess that was a step too far for Audi. You've got more carbon fiber here. You've got, I mean, look, it's all high quality. There's no doubt at all. You've got stitched leather. You've got your power windows, your power mirrors. You got a little map pocket there to put some narcotics or weapons in. You've got this has the upgraded Bang & Olufsen stereo, so a little tip of the hat to the Danes on that one. And it's fine. It's nice. It's expensive looking, and it's, you know, it's solid, but whatever. The seats have this strange, I don't know, how many sides is that? Hexagonal, octagonal? I never did well in geometry, but they've got a very interesting pattern. They've got the RS logo in the back of them. They're obviously very sporty. They've got side bolsters and top bolsters and, you know, the thigh support, and I can't complain. You know, driving home, it felt actually pretty comfortable. Let's see how the Canadians do back. There's a little ribbony door pull. So your Canadians, you know what, for a... I have a feeling they're probably better off in this Audi than they are in the M4 or the C. I mean, it's got a pretty decent back seat there. You're going to fit 2 of them. They've got what looks to be an enormous center console. Let me pull this thing down and look at that. Yeah, it's a pretty big sucker and a nice... You're not going to fit a big gun in there because you're not going to close the lid, but you probably fit something nice, you know, modern polymer type thing. But what the hell is all this? Oh, the drink holders. Yeah, whatever. And there it is. So you've got an interesting spot back there for your rear passengers. You've got a net here. I suppose there's more gun storage. And yeah, let's get in and see what we got. All right, you've got a very sporty looking steering wheel here with the flat bottom, you know, racing style. So it's easy to get in and out of. It's got nice grippity grips. It's got interesting perforated leather on it. You've got these little seatbelt presenters, which really honestly don't work very well for me because every time I go to put on the seatbelt, I seem to twist it around. It doesn't always go on straight. And I think Mercedes back in the 80s did a better job of that. But anyway, we fire it up. We're going to put our foot on the brake and crank it up. And it does have a nice little growl. From what I understand, they are actually piping sound in through the stereo system, which is that horseshit thing modern companies do to make these ultra efficient super horsepower engine sound more like the great big displacement V8s of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it's got this thing called the Audi Virtual Cockpit, and I've got it set up in the sport mode right now, which gives you a tag. I mean, look, man, it's a stunning display. There's no doubt at all. I mean, that is extremely racy. You've got your miles per hour in the center. You've got your tack around the edges of it, and off to the left you've got your, there's maps everywhere. Look at that. I mean, I could have like 9. I'll keep going. We're gonna justify or customize this thing more, but anyway, you got power and torque. You got your boost there on the bottom. Let me see what I can do here. So automatic connection is no known device found. You see, this is all the G meter. That's great. We can see how many G's we're pulling. View. Okay, now we're back to the non-sport view, I think, here. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so look at this. So I've got this giant map in front of me. I mean, this is for people who have no friggin' idea where they're going. With 2 middle gauges hanging off to either side. And then you've got another map over here in case this map lets you down. So you got plenty of maps. You got your light controls over here, including your fog light setup, which even gives you a cool little rain cloud thing with snow and rain. That's kind of neat. Here's your dimmer, so you can brighten it. You got your flippity flips as you have to on either side here. You've got multi-function controls that let you go. I mean, I couldn't even begin to go through all this crap. What is this? That's just zoom. You got a nav button. This is a customizable button that what I have it set up for right now is it changes the dynamic drive setting, which changes the dynamics, obviously, changes the setup of the car for how you're driving. Interestingly, I also have that connected to the interior illumination. So you can see it's kind of red now. I don't know if you see that. So if I press that, I think I have to be in gear for that. Let me see. All right, so now I'm in gear. If I press that, it's going to put me into comfort. Yeah, and all of a sudden my lighting now changes to a much more neutral and friendly color. So, you know, this is the kind of pizzazz, hoopla, horseshit stuff that maybe wows a snowflake. But, I mean, who gives a crap? I mean, honestly. Oh, I've customized the color in my Audi. There's like 3 different kinds of reds. Let me go over here for a minute and we'll do that. Get back into park so I don't drive into that car up there. All right, so I'm going to hit menu. Here we go. We're going to go into vehicle. All right. And let's see, that's that. Okay, so that's Audi Drive Select, vehicle settings, steering wheel button, seats, blah, 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 exterior lighting, interior lighting. So here we go. We've got contour white, maritime blue, nautical theme. We've got Impulse or Sport Red. Now, I went between those two yesterday in the dark, and I couldn't see a damn bit of difference between them, but I'm sure they're out there. Let's see what the air conditioning gives you. This system is activated. All right, let's activate the system. Auto research. Okay, that's exciting. Vehicle settings. That's that. We already know that. Driver assistance. We know that. Let's go back into vehicle settings. The steering wheel button. The seats. Driver's seat. Easy. This is all friggin' tedious. And I mean, honestly, who wants to spend the time to dick with all of it? But, all right, so you've got this little screen up here. You've got this row of air conditioning vents there. You've got your climate control here with, the ergonomics are nice. They feel expensive. They feel nice. But once you're wowed by them, once you get used to them, there really isn't that much difference between this and the 75 Cordoba in terms of what they do. Here's your drive select shit down here. You can turn off your traction control, your parking sensors. This turns off the screen if you want dark. I know it has Android Auto and Apple Play, so I presume you do that by connecting the USB. 12 volt because oh shit. I've done it. Nobody smokes anymore, so you don't have lighters or ashtrays. Why would you? I can't get that back in. Look at this. I have no room in here to maneuver. It's really hard to put that in. God damn it. You've got illuminated cup holders here. These are your presets for the radio, the 1 through 8. That seems like a lot of buttons for that. You've got, that reminds me of the old BMW iDrive. Everything has a joystick now and a knob that you can move around, plus direct access buttons and back and forward and that sort of thing. So let me just go into the nav, the map, which is leave a map up there. Here's, again, was the shifter so bad that it had to be redesigned and rethought to be this strange electric thing that it is now? So to get in drive, you have to poke this thing on the side and go back. Now you're in drive. If you want to go into a manual mode, you click it over to the right. Okay, so now you're in manual and you have to use the flippity flips. Fine. Okay, so let's get out of that. Want to go in reverse, that's forward. And if you want to park, you have to press a button. What are the chances all this is going to keep working? And then, of course, an electric parking brake, which is another thing that'll break. And then a volume control in a place nobody ever conceived that it should have one over here. So, I don't know. Look, maybe I'm just crabby. Maybe this is all very nice and exciting. But to me, it's just smoke and mirrors. That really is no different from how any car is or ever was. It's just more hyper-technical. And frankly, this doesn't seem that much more advanced than the 2012 or 2013 models I was doing not that long ago. It's got a rearview mirror straight out of a Corvette with no frame on it at all. You've got a compass in there. I can close this sunscreen up here on this pano roof or leave it open, or I can slide the pano roof back altogether and let in some of the air. You still have 80s cocaine mirrors, but they're little, not very big at all. I mean, why not give you more mirror there? Why not have a flip up instead of this tiny little mirror thing? I mean, how's your lady friend gonna check her shit with that little tiny mirror? She's gonna be very unhappy about that. And no, that's the screen. I don't want the screen. I want the sunroof. All right, so that's closing. What else? It's tilt and telescopic, but it's manual, which is interesting. I would have thought it would be power. Apparently, the airbag module got smaller this year, so there's just this tiny little guy with the Audi logo facing you. And there it is. Oh, we do have massage seats. So I press down on this thing, and Audi, interestingly, is still putting the seats or the seat controls. Well, I don't want to check the surroundings. Get off the mirror thing. Why is the camera still on? I don't want the camera. Get end system. All right, thank God. All right, so look, so I press down on this. That gets me into the seat setup mode, and I can get into the different massage things. So I'm going to go with wave. And this is a little saving grace of the car. I'm not in love with the massage settings. I haven't tried the stretch yet. I've tried the wave and the knead and try the stretch. But it is nice to get massaged on the way to work, I have to say. And that is at least one bonus that this car has. Center console-wise, you've got this place that'll apparently charge your phone and more USBs and auxiliaries. And honestly, it's pretty crappy gun storage. So obviously you can tell there's some gun laws in Germany that aren't like here. So you got a glove box over there, and yeah, there it is. So I tell you what, look, I'm going to pause here. I think we've done what we need to do inside the car for the moment, and I'm going to get my crap in the back, and then we're going to go ahead and do a test drive. So bear with me. All right, let's go for a ride. Get my seatbelt on. And we're going to answer a couple of questions here. There's our little growl from startup. And you know, I don't know if that's being piped in or not. That's the thing that also annoys me. Is it fake or is it real? Initializing navigation system, please wait. And I love cars that tell you to wait. I really do. But 75 Cordoba doesn't tell you to wait. And we're off-road. All right, so here's the thing. Okay, let me make sure we're in the right mode. So we're gonna go into, why doesn't it? Oh, because we have to be in, okay, we're in dynamic mode, which is the quick one. All right. You can also go into individual, by the way, and set things how you want them. Now, apparently the engine trans, let's see what dynamic, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, the dynamic is going to be the fastest shit. The steering is apparently variable. When it's in comfort, it's more something your mom would like. When it's in sport, it firms up a little bit, which is probably nicer for, youthful people like us. Let's go back into the sport mode cluster there, because I think that's probably the coolest looking one. Plus, it gives us power, torque, and boost there in the bottom right. And we'll go for a drive. By the numbers, this thing is insane. I mean, it's no question it's insane. It's like the NHRA World Finals or something. I mean, when I was a kid racing cars at the quarter-mile track and all, I mean, numbers like this were a pipe dream. At 3.7 to 60, 11.8 in the quarter. I mean, this was the stuff of very, very, very fast cars. And today, it's just sort of commonplace. But here's the part that really offends me about it. It's like Audi has created this car that has these intense performance numbers, this incredible acceleration, this incredible road holding. And yet it's like somebody has surgically removed the spirit of the car, the soul of the car. And this is my number one complaint with cars of this era, these new hyper-performance muscle cars. I mean, they're absolutely incredible in terms of the numbers they lay down. But somehow they managed to do it while taking all the crazy joy out of it. So I'm not going to get too crazy on this residential road, but let's give it a quick hammer and see what we got. I'm going to leave it in drive so I don't have to shift. Jeez Louise. Holy shit. Okay, so, the car is quick. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it screams. The transmission shifts very, very quickly. It had a little bit of a, I won't call it a lag. I suppose I could have done a launch control, and that would probably up the boost before you leave the light and get you a quicker start. But I mean, honestly, that was plenty quick enough. And now I'm just cruising. And that's fine, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, these cars are like a victim of their own intense modern perfection. I mean, they can do all of these fantastic things. They can do incredible laps around the racetrack. They can set land speed records. They can accelerate faster than you ever thought you would. And somehow still all the feeling is gone from them. I think that's the part that really bothers me. I think Mercedes with the C63, they're still sticking with these sort of body aggressive V8s. They maybe have it over the Audi. They have resisted the V6 turbo thing. Let's get out here after this after this Hyundai. This guy's gonna be pissed we pulled out in front. Holy shit. Yeah, you know, I mean, there's no doubt it's a fast car, but I mean, even in that, even with that rapid acceleration, the wheel didn't jerk much. It didn't feel like, you know, I was hanging on for dear life. It still felt very well poised and calm, and even under that acceleration. And that is my biggest complaint about these things. They just feel anemic while delivering breakneck performance. It's uncanny. It's absolutely uncanny. I mean, so who would drive this car? Who's the guy who owns this thing? You know, in my opinion, it's going to be somebody who doesn't really want or need a car that goes as fast or handles as well as this thing does. He just buys it because maybe it's the best A5 he can get, and you know, he's got the dough for it. So is it a poser car? Yeah, you know, I think to an extent it is. It's obviously a grand tour. I'm sure it's a lovely car to take around a big long country road or wind up a mountain, but you're going to get way more feeling and way more joy out of driving a friggin' 120 horsepower Miata than you are out of this thing. I mean, it does not give you the feeling of speed that you want it to do. Yeah, anyway, look, there it is. I'm going to quit ranting on at this point. Long story short, the car's incredible. There's no question about that. The numbers are incredible. The quality is there. The feel is there. Everything about the car is pretty great. But it does not have a soul. In my humble opinion, the car is lacking a soul. It is fun, I will say that. And you do get some interesting sounds out of it. Anyway, there it is. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully this was a short review. Maybe we even got under 30 minutes. Who knows? I hope so. That would be a first. And hopefully you guys had some fun discovering, you know, for those of you who don't, everyone's more up on this shit than I am. So I'm sure the Audi RS5 is old news to a lot of people out there. But to me, it was pretty new. And maybe to a couple of guys like me who love 75 Cordobas, it was too. But long story short, I'm going to tell you guys, the 75 Cordoba guys, you know, you're not missing much. I mean, you may not be able to waste that, you know, that Mustang GT at the traffic light next to you, but other than that, you know, I don't think you're missing too much. I'm gonna have some more. Please, by the way, this car is not for sale, at least not to the public. Dave's gonna wholesale it to someone at some point. So, you know, don't call up Auto House and ask for it. I don't think they're gonna have it, but maybe, who knows. Anyway, we're gonna have some more fun stuff coming up. Hopefully I get some more shit ready. I've been really slow getting stuff ready. That's why there's been a lag in Cordobas, but we're working on it. We'll get some stuff up, and I want to thank everybody again for watching. Everybody who's out there who does, God bless you, suffering through it. And if I don't see you before then, have a very happy new year, and we'll see you as soon as I can get another one going. Take care and good luck.